Okay, I get asked this question a lot. Do you believe in a global currency reset? It's otherwise known as the GCR. We talk about it all the time in the dinar community. There's a lot of people who believe in it. There's a lot of people who talk about it. They want to know, will this happen? Well, here's what I say. Okay, if I were the average Joe and I didn't know or didn't follow what was going on around the world and geopolitically, I would say it sounds really far fetched and it sounds ridiculous. But I've been involved one way or another with geopolitics now for about 17 years. And what I've noticed happening around the world, especially with central banks, there are many reasons to believe that a reset is not only going to happen, but it might have already started. I recently did a video where I yanked some headlines off of, only a handful of headlines regarding issues with central banks popping up everywhere. These issues are. And to me, this isn't a coincidence at all. And I explained in my video why I don't think there's a coincidence. And the video I'm talking about is the one about the gold standard. But one thing is clear, the people around the world are fed up with the corrupt governments who are bed buddies with bankers. Protests are breaking out everywhere. You have the Yellow Vest protests happening in France. You have the Yellow Vest protests happening in Germany, London, Sweden, Portugal. Not long ago, I posted on my Facebook group an article that I came across that covered the global reset itself. There was a handful of interesting tidbits that caught my attention. Number one, it was the reset was brought up in the article on the annual Davos meeting. Now, this is the two together are interesting because the fact that it mentions the global currency reset and Davos together, it should be a huge flag for people. And here's what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with what Davos is, it's a place where the richest people in the world get together with leaders in different industries and leaders around the world. And basically, what they do is they sit around and they talk about the different types of business sectors. They share their opinions on stage with people about what's going on globally. They cover everything from energy to blockchain technology, war, and several other topics. One of the topics that they covered that always catches my attention, of course, is what's going on with the economy around the world. That always catches my attention because you will learn a lot of things about that conference. And it could be kind of boring to people, but nonetheless, it's definitely interesting. So let me get back to this article. This article is interesting because the person that wrote it is actually bashing so-called gurus, you dinar gurus, the money gurus, and then he or she or whoever it is mocking people who believe in the dinar and the dung as an investment. So feel free to pause the video and read the article. But having said that, after bashing gurus and investors, the person goes on to seemingly shed some good news for dinar and dung investors, explaining why that person felt that the revalue of these currencies was on its way. Again, pause the video and give it a good read. There's some interesting things on here. Well, actually, let's just take a second to look at this. The person goes on, he's kind of mocking people, saying how these gurus are making money and stuff off people. I get that. I see that. Okay. But after all that, he's explaining the global currency reset itself, but goes on to this article or this paragraph here, and it says the next currency that appears to be ready to reset and its value may come from Iraq. Of course, he's talking about the dinar. And he goes on to talk about the different things that have to take place and why that person believes this is going to happen. It's nothing in here that we haven't seen or that we don't already know about. One is we need a stable government. It definitely needs to get rid of its corruption, and the financial laws need to be implemented. Okay, we already know this. It does bring up something that I talk a lot about. That is actually tied into the global currency reset, and that is the ending of the EU, which is the European Union. I believe the European Union actually is holding back a lot of different countries who are pegged to it from their currencies revaluating. All right, so this person is making a case that the Iraqi dinar is being held up by the EU. I don't believe that. I believe there's other currencies, such as, and one of them is another one to keep an eye on besides the Vietnam Dong and the Iraqi dinar, and that's the Thailand baht. That's a good one to keep an eye on. But there's reasons why, other reasons why, in my opinion, why the dinar is being held up, and it has nothing to do with the EU. Right here goes on to talk about another severely undervalued currency, which is the Vietnam Dong. And it explains how it's because China is accumulating gold, but that's not really what's holding it up. In my gold standard video, I explained that really what's happening is, or I should say, the Dong, or the video I did on the Vietnam Dong by itself. What's really happening is Trump is using those countries that surround the South China Sea to help him with his fight against China on this tariff wars. That's really what's going on. And so he's going to allow them to continue to manipulate their currencies until he's either crush China or until they come up with a deal. Once the China deal is struck, though, make no doubt about it, those countries that are surrounding the South China Sea, like Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia, all their currencies are going to have to go up because there's no way in how Trump's going to allow them to continue to manipulate that. Anyways, the article is really good. It goes on to explain in details a little bit about what's going on with the EU. And so I encourage you to just pause it and take a look at it, okay? Okay, now, I only put this in here for one reason, not because I want people to, you know, believe in, or I'm not trying to convince you about the New World Order. This is a copy of an old leaked map on how the New World Order wanted to break up the world. And as you can see, they were well on their way. Over time, the map, of course, would be redefined. The map wasn't to convince you, again, that the New World Order exists, but to show you that the globalist movement was out on its way and is currently holding up the global reset. Here is the EU. The EU is for those of you who are unaware what the EU is, it's just a council of people who are not, let me emphasize this, they're not voted into office. They're a group of people, most of them tied into banking industry, and they handle all the trade deals involving and the flow of immigration to these countries. So basically, they're like a one government that controls all this section. See, when you start talking about the New World Order, this is why it's easy to get in or see that the globalist movement was the same as the New World Order movement. Their goal was to break the world up into these different sections. They called them unions. Of course, over here we have the North America. It was called the Trade Union, is what it was, and that got broken up. The EU, of course, is the European Union, the Asian Union, and the African Union. So these people would control all these territories, and these people would not be elective officials. Okay, only bringing it up to point out the EU and what they control at this current moment. Trump's already broke this up. This whole North American Trade Agreement was done. It's now the UMCA, as I guess is what it's called. So he's already well on breaking this one up, and this one is well on its way of being broken up. If you pay attention to what's going on, Brexit. First it started with Greece, but Brexit is next. Once Brexit happens and Britain is out of there, you're going to see a flood of countries breaking away, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so just kind of keep an eye on that because that does affect currencies as well. Okay, the end of that article that we were just reading makes some great points, and in my opinion, points out the world moving back to the gold standard. There's many reasons to believe that, whether you're a fan of it or not. I believe it's necessary. I believe we need it. The people who usually oppose it, of course, are your greedy corporations, your bankers, and those greedy politicians are usually against the gold standard. Trump is trying to move this in a direction. I see China, India, actually there's like 9 countries that are heading into the gold standard. Once one of them makes that move, the rest of the people will follow without a doubt. Okay, again, this right here, this is the portion of the article that goes on and makes some great points. And again, I encourage you just to pause the video and go ahead and read it. There's some really good, interesting things in there that you should pay attention to, okay? I just don't want to sit here and read it to you. I just thought I would bring that out for you. Okay, so having said all that, many of us who are interested in the Iraqi dinar are familiar with the history of the Kuwait dinar. In fact, there are many reasons to compare what happened to the Kuwait dinar to the Iraqi dinar, and that's encouraging. Okay, A quick blurb about the Kuwait dinar. In 1990, Iraq invaded Kuwait. While they were there, of course, they robbed the Kuwait banks. So the United Nations and IMF were forced to devalue the Kuwait dinar. So they devalued the currency to basically make it worthless. It would take like 20 Kuwait dinars to equal $1. Okay, you can see this little write up on it here. But once Iraq was out of Kuwait and a new government was established, the UN, the IMF, along with Kuwait, reinstated the value of the Kuwait dinar, bringing the value back up to one Kuwait dinar that used to equal 5 cents American to one Kuwait dinar now equaling over $3 USD. That's a huge jump. This is a news article that was posted in the New York Times. There's also one, and I'll share the links for the New York Times article, as well as the Chicago Tribune, talking about the Kuwait dinar revaluation. I also, the article that I was just, the Davos article, I also post a link for that. So in case you can't see it in the video very well, you can actually go to the links and just read these yourself, okay? So I encourage you to do so. So this news is posted in the New York Times and Chicago Tribune. Okay, and I just wanted to show you that it was real. Currently, right now, you can see this currently. So this is the actual value of the Kuwait dinar. So for every one Kuwait dinar, it's equivalent to $3.29 American dollars. So what this means is for anyone who is holding the Kuwait dinar at the time the exchange rate change happened, the value dinar that they were holding actually increased about 600%. This turned a lot of people into millionaires overnight, and I mean a lot of them. Now, having said that, this leads me to a very interesting fact about those people who became millionaires from the Kuwait dinar. And this is a really sad fact. 85% of those who became millionaires from the Kuwait dinar were flat broke within 5 months. Let me repeat that again because it's important. They were flat broke within 5 months of becoming a millionaire. This should really scare the crap out of you. So be proactive instead of reactive. Start planning now on how you should invest your money once you get once the dinar and the dung revalue and you do make a lot of money, because it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. I believe that full-heartedly. What you should start doing now is you should already be thinking about where you need to take your money to exchange it. Now, for me, I have an account at Wells Fargo. Chase Bank is another one. As a matter of fact, you can currently deposit your money in Chase Bank, but they're only going to give you the current rate. Wells Fargo does not recognize that currency, not of yet. You need a currency to be recognized internationally. I've already talked to my bank manager, and we went over what is needed to be done once the rate change happens, and I encourage you to start doing the same. Also, I've been looking at different things that I want to invest in, ways to make sure that I don't end up like any one of those 85% of the people who were flat broke. That's really sad. You know what I mean? So be proactive. Go out there and think about what it is you want to do with your money, okay? Okay. So many people are trying to guess at what the rate will be, and I suggest you take a look at the other rates so that you can at least get an idea of where this might fall. These are other denarian rates. There's plenty of other ones as well. But you can see right here, this is the Bahrain is for every one Bahrain dinar, you get $2.65 back. Okay, look at the Jordan is $1.41. The Kuwait dinar is $3.21 or 29 cents. So even though these are lower, this is still way higher. Even this one is higher, or no, this is the Iraqi dinar. But looking in the difference in values, I mean, a 1 cent change is a huge change. But that this is a lot of money, believe it or not. So it's still a pretty big jump. Look how low. The point is, look how low the Iraqi dinar is compared to all the other dinars. So even if it did only change to this low side, it would still make a lot of people very, very rich and or at least very, very comfortable. Okay, so just I thought I would put that on there just to give you guys some kind of idea so you can look at it, okay? So will the global currency reset happen? It certainly looks like it will, all right? Will I get rich off the Iraqi dinar? I won't say yes and I won't say no, but I'll simply say it's possible. And I personally hold dinar. Will the dung value increase? The same answer I'll give you. I believe it's possible, and I posted videos explaining why I believe that, and I too hold Vietnam dung. So whether you make money off investing into the dinar or you get rich off the dung, it's okay to spoil yourself, all right? If you have the money to do it, then by all means, go ahead and spoil yourself. Take a vacation, see the world, but make sure, more importantly, make sure you're smart enough to find a way to stretch out the money so that you never have to work another day in your life unless you start your own business, okay? So, please leave your comments down below. Like if you like the video, share, smash the subscribe buttons. Again, these are my opinions. These are not meant as financial advice, and I hope you enjoy the video. Have a good evening or have a good day.